everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm joined by Walter. He decided to come out here and hang out with me in my office. But we are excited to hear some really important news for those who work at the Toledo Assembly Complex. Stellantis actually contacted UAW Local 12, which represents the people at Toledo, and announced that they are reducing the number of layoffs that they were planning to do on January 5th. Okay? Back last month, Stellantis announced that they were going to cut 1,100 plus jobs. I think it was like 1,133 jobs from the Toledo complex, mainly focused on the South plant. The South plant is actually in charge of the Jeep Gladiator, and if you aren't familiar with the Jeep Gladiator, it's basically a lifestyle pickup which does offer a premium price compared to the competition. However, because of how the economy has been, high interest rates, and just sales in general for Stellantis products, there's been a big backlog in inventory for the Gladiator. That being said, they actually had to idle production for a while. Antonio Filosa, who's the new Jeep CEO and COO for North American operations, came in and cut prices on the 2025 models. And they're trying to redo the whole, not revamp the Gladiator lineup, but make it more appealing for more people. The problem is you still got high interest rates and stuff like that, but it doesn't help when you go and lay off people at your plant when you don't necessarily have to do it. With that being said, Carlos Tavares, the former CEO who resigned December 1st, all this summer he had been cross-cutting across all of U.S. manufacturing. Now keep in mind, this is the guy who said we need to cut $200 million out of the budget and spent $55 million on for electric aircraft for some reason. So with that being said, it was kind of like, it didn't make a lot of sense for him to keep cutting jobs, but he was just kept cutting and cutting and cutting instead of fixing problems. So now that he's gone, the chairman, John Elkann, who was kind of like the apprentice of Sergio Marchionne, mind you, John Elkann's family, the Angeli family, owns a majority of Stellantis. John is also the CEO and chairman of Ferrari. But he has always been kind of in the background of the business operations of Stellantis. But now with Tavares gone, he's taken a huge role. He's basically kind of the interim CEO and chairman, and he's put together a team to try to fix put out as many fires as possible, because Tavares had left the company with fires all over the place. He had the dealers pissed at him. He had the unions mad at him here because of all the layoffs and not promising to go with their agreement. He had people in Italy upset with the government there, saying that they're not building enough product in Italy anymore, even though they have all these Italian brands. The Italian unions were ticked because he was doing cost-cutting stuff to affect them, like by cutting half their bathrooms down, so they couldn't use half their bathrooms just to save costs. I mean, it was just crazy stuff, and to the point where they were on strike often, and then you got pushback because all this EV stuff was being pushed into place. However, there's no demand for EVs right now. The EV demand has been way on the decline because they're too expensive. So people are looking for hybrids. So now you got Stellantis trying to put money into hybrids quickly as possible to get those out. So there's just a lot of fires, and Elkann wants to make sure that he puts out as many as possible because they're still looking for a new CEO who's going to come in before the end of the Q1 2025. So one of the things that Elkann did is he decided to contact the UAW down there in Toledo, Local 12, and basically tell them, hey, we're not going to cut all 1,100 jobs down there, 1,133 or whatever it was. Instead, we're going to only cut 125. So that's a huge change. The interesting part is, if we go down to what the union president said, Bruce Baumhauer, he basically came out and said that these new layoffs are going to be, instead of January, they're going to be pushed back to February. So 125 people are going to be laid off, but they're pushed back to February. But here's the interesting thing. He expressed optimism in the whole situation. He goes, who knows what it'll look like when come February, but for now it's down to 125 people. He added that Stellantis' decision to delay the layoffs also helps protect local suppliers, who would have been heavily impacted. This could have ultimately, this is what he says, this could save another 1,000 supplier jobs if it all works out. So if you remember, the Toledo Assembly Complex has a whole supplier park around it. And a lot of those suppliers, if with production being cut and all that, they would have to lay off a numerous amount of employees. So it's not just Stellantis' plant, it's the whole community around it. So, but what's interesting that Baumhauer said was that basically Stellantis could even lay off less based on what's going on. So it looks like Stellantis might take and offer people an early retirement incentive. If that's the case, if they can get 125 people to early retire, they might not have to lay off anybody. So hopefully that works out that way. But we don't know for sure. So we won't know until probably February. But it's good news for a lot of those people who were working Toledo and weren't sure coming up to after the week after Christmas if they're going to have a job. So this is huge news. Like, huge news. This is a totally different Stellantis. So another thing is, Baumhauer also praised John Elkann. He said he praised him for steering the company in a better direction compared to former CEO Carlos Tavares. And this is what he said. He said he understands the business and has already made changes like lowering prices on certain vehicles. That brings in customers back to the showrooms, which means we need to build more cars. So, again, hopefully this is a huge path that we, hopefully we'll see this as a change in how they're going to do their U.S. manufacturing. Maybe we'll see, instead of making cuts, we're going to see them try to lower cost of vehicles, which is a necessity because every Stellantis vehicle is overly priced. But we hopefully will see some change in that. So it'll bring people back to the dealerships. The good news is we have a new administration coming in. And with that being said, I don't care if you hate Trump or not, his whole focus is at eliminating the inflation and lowering interest rates. That's good news for these people who are selling cars. If you get more money in the people's pockets and you lower the interest rate, more people are going to come in and buy cars. If you have a $50,000 vehicle right now with a 7% interest rate, you're paying well over $1,000 a month for your car. Not many people are going to go buy a $50,000 vehicle if it's $1,000 a month. They're also not going to buy a $75,000 vehicle, which is common for Stellantis. So you see where that comes in hand. So you're seeing John Elkann being very progressive about putting out as many fires as possible. So hopefully that new CEO, whoever it is, comes in and doesn't have to deal with all the chaos. Because I'm sure no one wants to deal with all that. We've heard the dealers are getting on board because Antonio Filosa, who's the Jeep CEO and also the COO for North America, he's been dealing with them. And they had a dealer meet with them, had them in vehicles to drive the new products and actually get them on board with, hey, we're going to try to work with you. It's not against you anymore. So that's pretty good. This is obviously working great for the UAW. Hopefully more of this stuff will come about. We're seeing them have active meetings this past week with the Italian government about keeping Italian products in Italy, like the Fiat 500. They've already announced that they're going to build a next generation Fiat 500. Despite the slow sales, they're going to build another 500e in 2032. And it's going to stay in Italy. So there's a lot of news going on. So when you hear things on the internet, take and bite it with a grain of salt because every day something's changing drastically within this company. So good news, good way to start off the weekend, especially leading up to Christmas. I know a lot of people are probably like thanking God that this has happened, because for a while there we were really scared that we weren't going to have any production in the U.S. the way things were going. So other than that, it's going to be Christmas this week. We're going to do some small videos and stuff here on the channel. But if you get a chance, go on, make sure to read Mopar Insiders. We got tons of content. There's like 3-4 articles a day on there. Got a lot of cool articles coming up leading up to Christmas. Even though there's not going to be a lot of news, there's going to be a lot of cool products and stuff that we're going to be talking about. And hopefully you guys have a good Christmas this next week. So make sure to take and subscribe, hit that like button, hit the bell for a reminder when the next video is out, and also check out Mopar Insiders on a daily basis. Bye.